I thought it was just a normal Friday evening, until I walked into my own birthday party and froze. The room erupted with shouts of, "Surprise!" Balloons dancing, confetti hanging in midair, my friends cheering. But my world tilted when I saw him, not standing there nervously hiding a gift. No. He was pressed against her, my best friend, lips locked in a way that made my chest seize and my knees threaten to buckle. I laugh. Or at least I try. But it's hollow. The sound echoes around me like it belongs to someone else. I can't breathe, can't think, can't process. The part that haunts me most isn't what he's doing. It's the calmness in her smile, as if she's known all along that I would find this moment. We'd been together for 3 years. I thought I knew him. I trusted him more than anyone in the world. And yet here he is, tearing my trust into glittery shreds while the rest of the room obliviously celebrates me. My heart pounds, a staccato drum in my ears. And suddenly the music in the background doesn't matter. All I hear is the betrayal. I open the door slowly, as if hesitation could change what I'm about to see. My heels click against the hardwood. My stomach churns. And then, he sees me. His eyes widen, but not with fear. With guilt. And maybe a tiny spark of hope that I'll pretend I didn't see. I don't. I step inside, the laughter of friends and family washing over me. But it feels distant, like it belongs to another life. I feel like I'm watching a movie where I am both the lead and the audience, powerless to stop the scene unfolding in front of me. Her hand lingers on his chest as she pulls back, brushing her lips across his in a teasing, lingering way. And I can't stop staring. I want to scream, to run, to melt into the floor. But something inside me holds me still. I need to see. I need the truth, even if it shatters everything. I feel the air thicken around me, the scent of roses from the decorations, mixing with the faint familiar smell of him. And for a split second I almost forget myself, almost forget the pain, because his proximity still ignites something that shouldn't exist anymore. But then reality crashes in, sharp and cruel. "Happy birthday!" someone shouts behind me, and I force a smile. My body moves without me, shaking hands, nodding at people, but my eyes never leave them. And I realize that life as I knew it has ended in that single horrifying kiss. I want to turn and leave, but curiosity, shock, and heartbreak root me in place. I have to know how far this goes. I have to understand why. I have to decide if what I loved was ever real, and that's when I feel it. The first crack in my heart, the beginning of a story I never wanted to live. The night feels impossibly long, though only minutes have passed since the horror of seeing him with her. I try to laugh, to mingle, to pretend that everything is normal, but each burst of chatter and laughter feels distant, echoing through a tunnel that only leads back to that single searing image. My heart races, and I notice the way my hands tremble slightly as I reach for a glass of champagne, fingers brushing the delicate rim. He's here. Of course he is. And every step he takes toward me makes my chest tighten. He moves with that familiar confidence, the kind that once made my knees weak, the kind that now makes my blood turn cold. I want to look away, but I can't. My gaze follows him, drawn like a moth to a flame that promises both warmth and destruction. She's still there, my so-called best friend, eyes glinting with mischief and triumph. I realize, in a sick twist of clarity, that she knows exactly what she's doing. She knows that her presence, her touch, the curve of her lips against his skin, is unraveling me. I feel it. Jealousy, heartbreak, and that inexplicable, undeniable pull that he still holds over me, despite everything. I excuse myself from the crowd, telling people I need a breather. The balcony is my refuge, the night air cold and sharp against my flushed cheeks. The city lights below stretch endlessly, sparkling like a promise I don't believe in anymore. I breathe deeply, trying to pull myself together, trying to push down the rising tide of rage and sorrow that threatens to engulf me. And then I feel it. Him. The soft click of the door, the sudden warmth near my shoulder. He's here. Closer than I thought he would be. My stomach tightens, anticipation and dread colliding in a way that makes it hard to breathe. Can we talk? His voice is low, intimate, and laced with tension. 2 words, but they carry the weight of everything. I've seen everything I feel, everything I'm afraid to confront. I want to tell him to go away, to stay far from me, to disappear. But a part of me, the part that still loves him, can't resist. I nod and he steps closer. Too close. Too familiar. Too charged. My pulse hammers in my ears as the world narrows to him, the heat of his presence, the brush of his hand near mine. Every instinct screams danger, but every emotion begs for contact. Why? I whisper, my voice shaking. It wasn't supposed to happen. His words are halting, unsure, and yet in that pause I hear more than an excuse. I hear a confession, a trembling vulnerability that I haven't seen in him before. His gaze searches mine, pleading for understanding, for a bridge over the chasm he created. I swallow, tasting the bitter mixture of desire and anger. The night is dangerous, charged with a magnetism I can't fully resist. I feel the tension coil tighter, a mix of what was once familiar and what is now forbidden. His proximity, the subtle scent of his cologne, the way his eyes linger on my lips, it's maddening. The balcony becomes our secret arena, our private battlefield. Every word, every glance, every accidental brush of fingers carries weight, significance, and threat. Desire and betrayal collide, a storm that neither of us is willing to fully navigate. And then she comes out, shattering the fragile bubble we've created. Her laughter, light and triumphant, slices through the tension like a knife. My chest tightens, my throat closes. This is the woman who chose this moment, who wants this power, who knows exactly what she's doing to me. I glance at him, searching for something. Remorse, guilt, regret. But all I see is hesitation. And in that hesitation, I sense the magnetic pull of him again, the pull that had once drawn me into his orbit. My heart twists with conflicting emotions. Anger, jealousy, longing, desire. I realize that tonight isn't just about betrayal. It's about power, about chemistry, about secrets that have been brewing beneath the surface. And as the wind sweeps across the balcony, tugging at my hair and my nerves, I know that nothing can stay the same. Every step he takes, every word he utters, every glance she throws my way tightens the coil of tension. I'm caught between confrontation and avoidance, between destruction and temptation. The night stretches, fragile and dangerous, and I can feel the edges of my control slipping. I don't know if I should scream, run, or step closer. Every choice feels catastrophic. And as he moves nearer, his hand brushing mine just slightly, I realize that the night is only beginning, and the questions, the longing, the danger, are far from over. The cliffhanger tightens around me. Do I confront him about what I saw? Do I confront her? Or do I let the night stretch on, each moment more torturous than the last, with unspoken words and unanswered questions hanging in the air like smoke? The answer doesn't come yet, and maybe it never will. The party is finally quieted down. Most of the guests have left, leaving only the faint echo of laughter and the soft hum of music in the background. I'm in the kitchen, leaning against the counter, trying to steady my breathing, trying to convince myself that I can feel nothing. But the scent of the candles, the faint aroma of his cologne lingering from earlier, and the memory of him pressed against her, it all crashes back, unrelenting. And then I feel him before I see him. That familiar presence, the subtle weight of air shifting around me, the way my chest tightens without warning. He leans against the doorway, casual, almost teasing, but there's a tension in him that makes my pulse race. Every instinct screams at me to step back, to protect myself. And yet a part of me, the part I thought had died the moment I saw him with her, wants to pull him closer. "You shouldn't be here," I whisper, though the words are softer than I intended. "I couldn't leave," he says, voice low, intimate, and carrying a tremor of honesty that makes my heart ache. His eyes hold mine, searching, pleading. There's a rawness there that wasn't there before, the kind that comes after guilt, after fear, after something too big to ignore. The kitchen feels smaller suddenly, the room warmer, the lights dimmer. His proximity is magnetic, the kind of pull that defies logic. Every step he takes toward me feels both dangerous and inevitable. My breath catches in my throat. My hands, trembling slightly, brush against the counter, but I can feel his gaze, on my fingers tracing the outline of my movements as if memorizing them. "I didn't mean for it to happen," he confesses. His voice is trembling now, a mixture of regret and desire. I don't know how it went this far." The words hang in the air, heavy and intoxicating. My body remembers what it's like to be close to him, to feel his presence, to feel the warmth of his skin against mine. I want to step away, to preserve my dignity, but my feet feel rooted. My heart betrays me, beating faster, drawing me closer to danger, and then our fingers touch, just barely. But the spark is instantaneous. Electricity races up my arm, settling somewhere deep in my chest where longing and heartbreak collide. He notices, of course. His eyes soften, searching for permission, for acknowledgement. And in that moment, I understand the terrifying truth. I still want him despite everything. I start to say, but my words fail me. My voice cracks, betraying the swirl of emotions I can't contain. Anger, desire, betrayal, longing. He leans just slightly closer, close enough that I can feel the heat radiating from him, close enough that I can taste the faint hint of his lips when he exhales. "I'm so sorry," he whispers, and the sincerity in his voice slices through the wall I've been building around my heart. It's magnetic, dangerous, and wrong, but the pull is undeniable. Desire and hurt collide, a storm that neither of us wants to quell. I can feel the temptation building, the slow, impossible urge to let go, to forgive, to feel what my heart is screaming at me despite my mind. And then it happens. A tentative, almost hesitant brush of lips. Nothing explicit, nothing reckless, just enough to ignite every nerve ending, just enough to shatter the fragile control I've been clinging to. It's an apology, a confession, a question all at once. I feel it deep in my chest, the pulse of emotion that makes everything else fade away. For a moment, the world disappears. Just the two of us, two bodies and two hearts caught in the same complicated, dangerous orbit. The air hums around us. The kitchen lights flicker softly, casting shadows across his face, highlighting the tension in his jaw, the curve of his lips, the way his eyes linger on mine. But reality crashes back. A soft knock on the door, a distant voice calling his name, and the fragile moment shatters. He pulls back reluctantly, his gaze lingering, his hand still close to mine. And in that instant, I realize something I hadn't allowed myself to admit. This isn't over. The first confession has been made, the first boundary crossed, and now, the emotional collision between us is unavoidable. Desire, guilt, and longing twist together in a way that leaves me breathless, confused, and achingly aware that nothing will ever feel the same again. I step back slightly, trying to gather my wits, to reclaim some part of myself that isn't trembling with anticipation and heartbreak. But the memory of his lips, the warmth of his presence, the raw honesty in his eyes, it follows me, a haunting echo that will not be silenced. And as the night stretches on, I know one thing with terrifying certainty. This first confession is only the beginning. The tension, the longing, the dangerous pull between us, it's far from over. And neither of us can turn away, not without losing a piece of ourselves in the process. The next day is heavy, like a thick fog settling over everything I touch. I move through it mechanically, texts unanswered, calls ignored. Every glance at my phone a reminder of the chaos I can't escape. But I know he's here somewhere. Somewhere, in the same city, breathing the same air, and that thought makes my chest both ache and burn. I agree to meet him at the park, needing space that isn't suffocating, needing clarity in a world that feels fractured. The city hums around us, distant and indifferent. I see him sitting on a bench, hands clasped together, jaw tight, eyes fixed on the ground. There's a vulnerability there that makes me pause, makes me question everything I thought I knew about him, and about myself. "I want to be honest," he says as I approach. "Everything, no excuses." His voice trembles just slightly, a vulnerability that makes my heart lurch. I want to turn away, to protect myself from another blow, but the magnetic pull is undeniable. I sit across from him, close enough to feel the warmth radiating off him, close enough that the tension between us becomes physical, tangible. "I don't know why it happened," he continues, "or why I let it go this far, but I need you to know you're the one I want, the one I've always wanted." The words crash into me like waves, tumbling over my defenses. I want to believe them, but every fiber of my being is screaming that I should run, that I should fight. And yet, the ache in my chest, the longing in my heart is undeniable. He reaches for my hand, just one hand, tentative, hesitant, as if testing the waters of my forgiveness. My breath catches, my pulse racing, and I let him. The warmth of his fingers against mine, the subtle squeeze, sends a shiver down my spine. It's familiar, intoxicating, and terrifying all at once. We talk, and it's messy and it's raw. There's laughter at inappropriate moments, tears at the truths we can't escape, confessions of desire, guilt, and longing. Every word, every glance, every subtle touch is amplified, electric with the tension we've been dancing around for weeks. The world outside the park disappears. It's just us, tangled in a web of emotions we've been too afraid to face. And then, without warning, he leans in, closer than before but careful, hesitant yet certain. Our lips meet in a slow, deliberate kiss, an apology, a plea, and a promise all in one. It's nothing explicit, nothing reckless, but it's enough. Enough to remind me why I loved him. Enough to remind me why I was hurt. Enough to show that despite everything, the connection between us hasn't died. I feel him against me, the warmth of his body, the subtle brush of his hand on my back, the pressure of his lips on mine. Desire and guilt collide, twisting in a storm that leaves me breathless. I know this is dangerous, and yet I can't pull away. My hands move instinctively, brushing against him, memorizing, reclaiming what once felt mine. "Don't stop," he whispers, his voice trembling with emotion. "I need you to know how much I care, how much I—" But the words falter. Fear, hesitation, the ghosts of yesterday, yesterday's betrayal. They all linger, unspoken. And in that pause I realize that passion isn't just physical. It's emotional, raw, consuming. It's the culmination of longing, of heartbreak, of vulnerability laid bare. We break apart briefly, just enough to catch our breaths. But the connection remains, taut and unyielding. He cups my face in his hands, thumbs brushing my cheeks, eyes searching mine. "I'm sorry," he says again, softer this time, "for everything, but I can't hide what I feel." The confession hits me like lightning. Every nerve in my body is alive, every emotion heightened. I want to forgive, I want to forget, but more than that, I want him. I want the honesty, the vulnerability, the rawness of this moment. I want to feel alive again. The tension between us is unbearable, electric, and inevitable. We don't speak for a long while. We don't need to. The city hums around us, distant, irrelevant. It's just us, caught in this storm of emotion, desire, and truth. Every heartbeat is amplified, every breath a reminder of what's at stake, and, as the sun dips lower, painting the sky in golden rose, I realize the breaking point isn't a single act of betrayal or desire. It's this, the acknowledgement of everything we've done, everything we've felt, and everything we're willing to risk for the truth between us. We rise together, hand in hand, trembling with emotion, aware that the night ahead will test us in ways we can't yet imagine. But for the first time in days, I feel something I thought I'd lost forever. The possibility of redemption, of connection, of a love that refuses to. The confrontation is inevitable. I can feel it in my bones as I step into the living room, the faint remnants of balloons and confetti from my ruined birthday scattered across the floor. She's there, smirking, the picture of composure, while he stands awkwardly, caught between guilt and desire. I don't speak at first. My chest tightens, my jaw aches from the tension coiling inside me. The air feels thick, heavy with everything unsaid, everything witnessed, everything betrayed. I look at him, and for a moment I see the man I fell in love with, the one who made me laugh, the one who held me through storms, the one whose touch once made my heart race. I can't do this anymore, I finally say, my voice calm but cutting. I can't pretend that this is just a mistake. You chose her, and you hurt me. He flinches, but doesn't speak. I realize that words won't be enough. This isn't just about guilt. It's about raw honesty, about exposure, about the painful truth that the world we shared has been fractured. She steps forward, a challenge in her eyes. It wasn't like that, she says smoothly, but I see the tremor in her hand, the subtle hesitation that betrays the confidence she tries to project. No, he says firmly, cutting her off. It was wrong. All of it. And it should never have happened. His eyes find mine, searching, pleading, bearing a vulnerability that leaves me reeling. For the first time in days, I sense the weight of his regret, not just guilt, but understanding. I take a deep breath, forcing myself to meet him where he is. Do you want me to forgive you? I ask, voice trembling despite my composure. Do you even know what that would take? His lips part, but no words come. Instead, he steps closer, bridging the gap that has haunted me for weeks. The energy between us is palpable, tense, raw, and charged with the history of our love, our desire, and our pain. He reaches for my hand, tentative at first, then with more certainty, grounding me, anchoring me in a storm of emotion. I do, he whispers. I want to. I'll do whatever it takes. You're the one I want, the one I've always wanted. I was a fool and I cut him off. Not with anger, but with need. The years of love, the moments of intimacy, the raw connection that defied explanation, they all crash into me at once. I step closer, letting him see the vulnerability I've tried to hide, letting him feel the desire I've been wrestling with. The kiss that follows isn't tentative. It's a confession, a reclamation, a surrender. Everything we've withheld, every tear, every longing glance, every ache for connection, it pours into that moment. My hands find his shoulders, his face memorizing the contours I thought I'd lost. His hands trace my back, grounding me, igniting me, reminding me that despite the betrayal, the love we share is alive and fierce. Time blurs. The room fades away. There's only this, the electric heat of touch, the raw intensity of emotion, the unspoken understanding that we've crossed the line between heartbreak and healing. Every breath, every brush of skin, every whisper carries a weight that is almost unbearable. When we finally pull back, I can feel the heat lingering between us. My chest heaves, my heart races, but there's clarity too. The truth is messy, but it is ours. I see the remorse, the longing, the raw honesty in his eyes, and for the first time in weeks I feel the possibility of something real, something unshakable, something worth fighting for. She watches silently, her presence no longer threatening but irrelevant. The moment has shifted. He is mine, and I am claiming him, not out of spite, not out of fear, but because despite everything, the connection we share refuses to die. We sit together, holding hands, letting the silence stretch, comfortable and heavy with meaning. Words are unnecessary now. The city hums around us, indifferent to the storm we've weathered, indifferent to the raw, unfiltered intensity of our reconciliation. I don't know if I can ever forget, I admit, voice soft, almost a whisper. You don't have to, he replies. Just let me prove that I can be better, that I can be here for you. And in that moment I realize that forgiveness isn't about erasing the past. It's about choosing to rebuild, to trust again, to embrace the love that remains beneath the ashes of betrayal. It's about reclaiming the fire that almost consumed us and letting it burn brighter than ever. The night stretches on. We sit in each other's arms, the weight of the past slowly lifting. I know there will be scars, reminders of what happened, but I also know something stronger. The truth, the love, and the connection we fought to preserve. And as the dawn breaks, painting the city in gold and rose, I finally breathe. The heartbreak, the tension, the longing, they've led us here to this fragile, beautiful, undeniable truth. That even after betrayal, love can survive. That even after heartbreak, desire can endure. That even after everything, we can find each other again, and I do.